I think we can start now. So Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hope you all had a wonderful celebration. We wanted to bring you all together to give you more info about Accenture's 5-day technology social media impact week before the application deadline on 15th of January. So my name is Banu. I lead the community at NAYA. NAYA is a social mobility network that helps underrepresented people from all around the world gain access to job, training, and mentorship opportunities at the world's most inclusive companies. Today, we are excited to be sharing one of the latest opportunities from Accenture. So now is the time to introduce you to our fantastic guest speakers. Serena, who's an early engagement senior recruiter at Accenture, and Jackie and Pooja, who participated in Accenture's Movement to Work program in the past. Q&A will be at the end. Feel free to post your questions in the chat. You'll also have the chance to raise your hand, unmute, and speak. Serena, I will hand it over to you now.
Awesome. Thank you, Banu. Thank you, everybody. It's so good. Though I can't see you, I feel your enthusiasm from the numbers that you have given, how you're feeling about the presentation today. So I'm going to try and match your energy because I'm really excited about this opportunity to talk to you about unlocking potential. And I just want to be clear, you'll hear us use different phrases interchangeably to describe the program. So we have historically called this program Movement to Work, which is why you've kind of heard Banu mention that. I'm having a little bit of a problem with my PowerPoint. It doesn't want to seem to play ball, but there you go. Here we go. So that's me with another hairstyle, always changing them. I've been at Accenture for since August last year. And I like to kind of tell people that before coming to Accenture, I knew nothing about it. And that should put you at ease if you hadn't heard about Accenture before today. But I will share one of the reasons why I came to Accenture is because I thought technology is such a growing part of the world. I am not the greatest at it. I enjoy helping people from underrepresented backgrounds access opportunities in the working world. And I'd love to be able to do that in tech. So let me align myself with somebody who does that in a really good way. And I was really lucky to find out about Accenture doing that bit of research. So that's a bit about my personal story to Accenture. As Banu's kind of mentioned today, we've got lots happening. So not only are we going to talk about the program, I'm going to give you some information about the program structure, about the eligibility criteria and the assessment. The best thing about today is you're going to hear from people that work in the company, and that's the best way for you to get a feel for what Accenture do and who we are. Jakir, who we've mentioned, is actually on this program in one of its earlier guises. So he's going to talk to you about his experience there and why he stayed with us so long since doing that. And then we also have Pooja, who's on an apprenticeship. And we like to make this really important link between this program and our apprenticeship opportunities because it's a pathway to people that may be interested in an apprenticeship. So you can hear from Pooja, who's currently on her apprenticeship. And the great thing is that you can hear from, even though we've mentioned we're going to focus on tech, you may have come to today specifically with an interest in technology at Accenture. We do have a consulting offering as well on this program. So Pooja can also speak to her experience in terms of working in consulting. Please, again, I want to reiterate what Banu said about keep the questions coming. There is no silly question. People say that all the time, don't they? But really, you've come here because you want information. We want you to have that information so you feel really informed if you choose to apply. So please do keep those questions coming. If you don't want to answer them yourself, that's fine. I always think I'd be really shy at these things, even though I'm a talker. So we will answer the questions for you, essentially. Don't feel like you have to turn on your microphone. If you want to, it's absolutely fine. So to get you started, just a little kind of warm up is a little bit of an Accenture quiz. Don't get too competitive about it. It's absolutely fine. It's true or false, 5 questions, just to see what you know, if you know anything. So it will take us less than 30 seconds and don't worry about writing it down. If you're feeling particularly competitive and you want to type in true or false on the chat, then do that. Let's get stuck in. Okay, so question 1. Accenture can trace its roots back to 1953. So we are a modern technology company, but do we go as far back as 1953? Is that true or false? I see someone going in the chat. Let's see what we've got. We've got a couple of trues. Okay, so let's have a look. Are you right? We've got a false there. And then my presentation gets sticky, typical, all the anticipation. The answer is true. So Accenture historically was part of an audit firm. So that's where you can trace our roots back to. Okay, so Alison Rose, is this the current CEO of Accenture? This is where I like to see if anyone's done any research, if you do know about us. So our leadership, Alison Rose, does that ring a bell to anybody? Ooh, we've gone quiet for this one. All right. So the answer here, again, sticky keyboard. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's just come back from the new year, so warming up. Here we go. So Julie Sweet is our CEO. And if you are particularly interested in Accenture, and there's lots of videos on YouTube, she is an amazing leader. So yeah, she is our CEO. So the next question is Accenture. This was derived from the phrase accent on the future. Is this true or false? How did we get our name? Does that sound like it could make sense? Oh, somebody actually got Julie Sweet. Impressive. Well done. False. We got true. We got true. Let's have a look. A couple of falses. We don't believe that. Here we go. The answer is actually true. So I like this kind of fun fact. There was actually a competition to kind of rename the company, and somebody submitted this, a lady called Kim from Oslo, and she won the competition. What a great legacy, right? To have named a big organization like Accenture. Okay. Oh, giving you the answer of that one. Some of my keyboard's gone all funny. So the answer to that next question was false. We actually operate in 200 countries, cities, and our locations are across 50 different countries. Okay, so Accenture's head office, are we a London-based company? Is that where our headquarters are? True or false? False. Okay, we got a strong vote for false on this one. Does anybody know where then? If this wasn't true, can anyone guess where our headquarters are? Oh, look. Okay, I've seen some right answers. I've seen some wrong answers. I'm going to reveal the right answer now. And the correct answer is Dublin. So that was false. So somebody did get that. So very well done. And if you didn't get any, that's fine. It's just a little bit of a warm up and to get you going in the chat. So who are Accenture and what do we do? Accenture are one of the world's leading consulting and technology organizations. So what we do is we deliver for our clients, and we help them to rethink their business strategies and deliver great customer service through technology. It's not just about helping them come up with ideas, but implementing them too. So you can see across the bottom there, that picture graph is talking about how they can gain a greater market share and deliver better customer experiences. We are a global organization, and I think the current number sits at something like over 721,000 employees work for Accenture across the globe. And I think what I always like to kind of point out is that even though we lead in consulting technology, we actually work across over 40 industries. So going back to what I said to you at the beginning about my own reason for coming to Accenture, thinking about how important and how ever more important technology is a part of our lives across 40 industry, and these are just some of them. So Accenture isn't a household name. It's not, going to be on a product that you have in your home or a service that you interact with every day. However, there will be brands that and just have a look at this screen here. Have a look at the different areas. So from the health and public sector, resources, financial services, have a look at those brands. And that's just a snapshot of some of our clients. We have, I think, about 6,000 clients that we work with. And how many of those clients are you familiar with, the ones that you can see on screen? I think there's like about 26. That's a good question to kind of ask yourself. So that was just a kind of short introduction. We're going to delve in. There's going to be much more that you find out about Accenture, but we want to make this as interactive as possible and not just me talking at you and putting stats on screen. The reason why this is a really important project for us and one that I'm particularly passionate about is, like I said, it's about giving people opportunities that may not traditionally see themselves as working at Accenture or have the kind of access to working at Accenture. And Accenture has won lots of accolades to kind of prove that it is, one of the leading organizations in terms of inclusion and diversity. But the program itself and many programs that we kind of run, our internship programs, our summer internship programs, really kind of drive a diversity edge. But without further ado, I really would love to introduce you to Jakir, who I mentioned, who was a previous participant on what was formerly known as Moving to Work and now our kind of Unlocking Potential series. He's going to talk to you for a few minutes about what he does at Accenture, how he came to find out about the program and how that experience was for him. If you do have any questions, please do put them in the chat. We will come to them at the end of the Q&A. Jakir, are you there? Are you ready?
Hello, Serena. Yep, I'm ready. Okay. Hi there, everyone.
Hi. Hi.
You're on mute, Jakir.
Hello, sorry, I was talking there.
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
better.
Yeah, thanks. Gosh, what a good start. Yeah, hello, everyone. My name is Jakir. And yeah, I joined the Movement to Work about 5 years ago now. It was in 2018, just before. And before doing the Movement to Work, I was working at Marks and Spencer's in Camden Town. And I was working 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I was doing that for a long time and I didn't feel like there was any way out. And every morning when the shop would open up, I would look outside on Camden High Street and I would, I was really tempted to just leave the store and just go home and have a nap or something. I was just exhausted. I was not enjoying where I was going. So I thought, instead of, putting up with this situation, let me do something about it. So I went home and then I applied to anything and everything, even jobs that I was no way near qualified for. Bearing in mind that I dropped out at like GCSEs. I had like 9 GCSEs, not even 11. So I wasn't qualified at all, but I was applying to everything. And then, I was on the Gov website and I saw an advert saying, get work experience at the biggest technology consultant in London. And then obviously, hearing these buzzwords, and this was a sponsored ad, by the way. So I thought, too good to be true. I almost skipped it, but I thought, let me give it a try, because it said 2 weeks experience in the office itself. So I thought that in itself, if I could get that, then, I could maybe stretch the truth, put that on my CV, say that I've been working at, a big London firm for 2 months. And, hopefully that could get me, get my foot in the door with any other company. So fast forward a couple of months and I'm in Fenchurch Street in Accenture offices. And I look at the size of the reception and I'm looking at all these people who are walking around with laptop bags and, business headsets and what have you. And I thought, no, this is me. I need this. This is my opportunity. I've got 2 weeks here and I'm gonna, like, the people who are leading the traineeship, like, I want them to be so amazed with me that they would go back to HR and they would say, like, we'd be silly to not hire this guy. So yeah, that's what I did. For 2 weeks, I was turning up suited and booted, 15 minutes early from lunch, 15 minutes early in the morning. And yeah, I was like fully on it. And then, so what I currently do at Accenture, like when I started, so I passed the, the application process, and the Movement to Work actually helped me with everything. Like, because I already had a mock interview. I had a mock stage 1 interview, stage 2 interview. I knew everything to expect. It was fully rehearsed. So when it came to the actual interviews, I just completely smashed it. And yeah, I got the job. And then obviously I didn't even have A-levels, and you need A-levels to get into a university. So I couldn't even start my degree. So I did 1 year just getting my level 3 qualification. And, alongside that, I was also doing real life work. Like I've worked in so many like industries ranging from, public health, public justice, major telecoms company that I'm sure many of you probably use the service, a major high street bank, a supermarket retailer, ironically, and yeah, like a few others that I can't name the top of my head. And I made sure to kind of use my time as an apprentice because obviously I'm like proper junior, so I was able to make a mess. Like I could go in, not know what the hell I'm doing, but manage to come out kind of unscathed because he's the new guy. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Currently I'm working for, our client is a major sports streaming service, and this one actually is the hardest project that I've been on, and I'm finding it the most enjoyable. So, from my experience, like I know exactly what I want to do, and that is like JavaScript. So, and what it's like to work here, it's not like anything else. Like I've never worked such little hours and made so much money. Like before I was working, 12, 14 hours, all hours of the day, like night shifts, day shifts, all of that. But now I'm doing like a solid 9 to 6, and it's very calm. Like working from home, it's flexible. I can go into the office whenever I want. It's good fun. Company perks. Like I never thought I'd have private healthcare. Like when my friends hear that, obviously, living in Camden, most of them, they're still in supermarkets and whatnot. And yeah, they're like, what the heck? Don't ever quit your job. Basically, they're saying you're so lucky. And yeah, and like what made me want to join Accenture, to be honest, like before movement to work, I didn't even have a clue who Accenture were. But after doing some research, I was like, wait, hold on. These guys are like a huge company that's working in the background. Like, when you come back from holiday at Heathrow Airport, there's that, you don't even need to speak to anyone. You got that passport control system. You step into that little booth, it spins around the doors, it's like some circular doors. Yeah, we had our part in implementing that. Also, BMW, they have the app where you can literally, like using augmented reality, you could see the car that you want to buy in your bedroom or wherever. Like you can you can use your phone to go into the back seat, look at the stitching on the seats, look at the cup holders, look how everything would function. So yeah, when I heard these kind of case studies with Accenture, I thought, no way, I'm definitely going to give it my all. And I guess it's coming to about 5 years in September that I've been working for them. And I feel like it's still the beginning of my career. Like I haven't got bored yet. I don't think I ever will. If I do get bored, I'll probably just leave the project I'm on now and join another project, which, because the company is so big and they've got so many clients and so many opportunities. Like I could do programming, I could do business analysis, I could do recruitment, I could do like anything. Like you can apply for jobs within Accenture. That's what it feels like. And yeah, so, and in terms of like how Accenture's benefited me, obviously you can imagine the first thing is probably I've got a fixed sleep timetable, because working a 9 to 5, it was a luxury. Like up until the age of 24, I was working odd jobs like security guard, retail, all this, like dead end jobs. And, you can imagine, I never thought I'd get to do a 9 to 5. And yeah, that's probably my favorite thing, to be honest. I guess, I don't know, like in the Q&A, I'm sure, I could answer your questions if you have any, but for now, I feel like I've shared everything I could. So back over to you, Serena.
Thank you so much, Jakir, and thank you for such honesty about your journey. And like you, I like my sleep. So, that's something to kind of celebrate, a job that can support your well-being. And there are lots of different things, isn't it, that Accenture do beyond giving you that kind of 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, as you say, in your job. And we could delve into some of that later. What I would like to do now, everybody, is just kind of talk to you in a bit more depth about the Unlocking Potential week. Nia were very kind to kind of share the key things that you all wanted to kind of get out of today. So we really want to make sure we touch those points, and success stories and, you know, hearing from some of the people is one of those. But in terms of the structure, you will know that we have two programs. So the first, the technology program, is a program that starts on 30th of January. And both programs have a similar structure. So they are 5 days long. I've seen some of the questions on the chat, people asking about virtual working. So we are delivering this as a hybrid this time around. We've had feedback to say that sometimes being remote is just too distant. You know, this is a really intensive program. So 5 days to kind of get to know Accenture, learn some new skills. Like Jakir said, get some kind of mock interviews and kind of prep for your next steps, hopefully with Accenture or potentially with another employer. We're trying to fit a lot in, but we also want to have a good time, right? I always feel like if I'm not having a good time with my work, like I've got something wrong. So it's really important that we build some really good connections. Your network becomes really valuable to you in your career. So we really want to take the time to help you do those things. So day one, we bring you into our office in London, Fenchurch Street. And anytime you're having to travel on the program, we will reimburse your expenses. On that day, it will be an opportunity to meet all the other participants, of which there will be somewhere between 20 to 30. There'll be the project team of people that are going to be delivering the skills sessions, managers. The offices at Accenture are impressive and a lovely kind of space to be in. So we'll make sure you kind of have a tour of, there's like a lovely kind of cafe and garden area, which is my favorite place to be in. It's all very green. There's lots of different one-to-one spaces and cafe areas and cozy spaces. So you'll get an opportunity to get a feel for Accenture and its people in person. Part of the program is that you will work towards, on the last day, a presentation. So you'll be given a business challenge to kind of solve. And 20 to 30 of us is a lot of people, right, to get to know, and particularly when some of that's going to be happening virtually. So you're going to be broken up into smaller groups, and those smaller groups will be your team effectively that you work with on this presentation. So on day one, we have to bring you all together, introduce you to the whole group, but then meet your project team, which you can kind of start to build a closer relationship with. We'll obviously be providing you lunch, and we will be there for the full day, and we'll talk about what else you can go into a bit more of the detail about the following 5 days. Days 2 to 4 is when we are virtual. So you'll be working from home or whichever, you know, space in your personal life you feel is best to work. So it could be a charity partner that you know has a space for you. What I do want you to know is if you don't have a device, a laptop, which would be ideal for you to work on, we can provide that to you. So it's likely that would be sent to your home or collected on day one. In those sessions, each day will look differently. So we're fitting a lot in. We're delivering a skills session from people in the business. And these are skills that we deliver in-house to our team. So anybody who starts at any level will have an induction at Accenture. And there's some really kind of key skills to be successful in the business. And they range from storytelling, personal branding, networking, but also, as this is a technology program, we're also going to be delivering some kind of harder kind of coding skills. And this will be a taster. You're not expected to know lots about any of these things before you come in. It's just, you know, having an attitude and an openness and a willingness to learn. Alongside those sessions, as well as kind of having me as a consistent person from day 1 to day 5, you will be assigned a buddy and a mentor. So the difference between those is your buddy is just someone that's really informal for you to kind of check in with. They're likely to be someone who's working at entry level in the business, a current apprentice, or a former apprentice. And if you've got any questions, I don't know about you, but sometimes I get really intimidated in a new environment or with people of seniority. And you've obviously, like Jakir said, you want to put your best foot forward. You want to present yourself really well. And sometimes that can make us hesitant to ask questions, but asking questions is so important for learning. And I will say that Accenture genuinely, this is from my experience, is such a good environment for that. But just to make that even easier for you, that buddy is someone that you can just say, you know, this is how I found today, or this is what I'm unsure about. And your mentor is just that kind of extra layer of support, somebody who's maybe more established in the business, that can either help you with think about your business challenge that you're working on, help you think about what your next steps after Accenture is going to be. So one is more like a kind of coach mentor, thinking about your kind of broader career, and the other one is just like literally a buddy, a friend to kind of check in with. So you will all be given schedules if you're successful, and your schedules will be really clear, like what time you need to log on for what session and who you'll be meeting. So you will definitely, before you start the program, have a full project schedule. So there'll be no guessing as to what's happening each day. And on day 5, that's the final time that we meet, and we like to top and tail that, you know, coming together. It's the end of an intense program. It's an important time to kind of celebrate everybody's achievements, even getting on the program and completing it. Those are really, really important things to kind of mark. But also you will be able to, in your teams, present your responses to the business challenge. It does have a slight competitive edge, so there will be judges from the business, but that kind of competition is not going to determine your process thereafter. It's not like an interview. This is an opportunity for you to kind of learn and to put that learning into practice. So we'll be in the office, we'll have lunch together, and then we'll start to talk about what the next steps are in terms of the apprenticeship that is on offer for you to be fast-tracked to. I know I've spoken really fast. I'm sure you keep the questions coming in the chat. We will get to it. Before I just talk about the apprenticeship and the connection to the Unlocking Potential weeks, I do want to spend a bit of time talking to you about the eligibility, which you will have seen if you've looked at the ad. They are essentially very similar for the technology and consulting, and I'll just highlight the differences as I go through. So our programs are, you heard Jakir mention that he was in employment when he started his Movement to Work program, and that Movement to Work program, Unlocking Potential as we now call it, has evolved over the 5 years. So each year it looks a bit different. This year, we are currently looking for people who are not in education, employment or training. To speak to the training piece, they were talking about vocational training, working towards a qualification. And I always say to people, if you're on one now, if you're on some kind of short course now, but it ends before the program, obviously you would be unemployed and not in educational training at that point. So I would still encourage you to apply. But unfortunately, if you are in any kind of work, or if you are in the midst of A-levels, this program would not be for you, because what we are looking for is for you to have a minimum, and that's a minimum of 80 UCAS points. And now I don't know if I should have asked you this early, Holly, but I will drop it in at the end of the chat if you don't have access to the UCAS calculator, and that just helps people to calculate points. Sometimes people are unsure. So those UCAS points can be gained from other level 3 qualifications such as BTECs or what have you. It doesn't just have to be an A-level. There's also a requirement for you to not have a degree or any other higher education qualifications. And that links back, all of this criteria links to the idea that we would like as many people as possible to progress onto our apprenticeships. So this criteria is not set by us, it's set by the university that we work with to deliver the apprenticeships. And then in terms of like person specification, skills and attributes, curiosity about technology. So like, you know, what I said at the curiosity, you know, wanting to find out about how technology is being used in all of these different industries. It doesn't mean that you have to be an expert to think about it, but yeah, that curiosity and interest is all we're looking for, and for you to be able to genuinely express that curiosity. If you have experience in coding, then that's great, but it's not a requirement for you to have any technical experience for this, because as you progress, and if you progress onto the apprenticeship, you know, all of that will be delivered to you. The difference between technology and consulting in terms of the eligibility, all of the things that I've listed remain for consulting, but in addition to that, you will need to have achieved and that says CSEs, but it means GCSEs, my apologies, at A to C, or that's grade 4 to 9 in the new grading system, which includes maths and English. And the reason for that additional difference compared to the technology, you'll see this later on in my presentation, is because on the apprenticeship pathway, we are also now offering candidates a professional qualification, which is chartered management status. So that's a professional qualification that, you know, very senior managers will go through, and they would normally pay for that in their own kind of time. But that is being delivered in addition to the apprenticeship. And so we would hope that as many people that come onto the Unlocking Potential series may be interested in doing the apprenticeship and then would fit the criteria so that they could apply for it. I'm just going to do a little time check. So we're a little bit behind. We did start a little bit later. I do want to play this video though, because I think that it's only 3 minutes and it does kind of give you a real feel. It's a video that was taken in one of our previous tech tasters. So I'll let it speak for itself.
I'd say that this week has been far more relevant to me in my career than anything else I've done before.
Tech Taster Week is a 5-day event which we run as part of our support for Movement to Work.
Movement to Work is an initiative that has been set up to inspire young people.
What we want is to give young people the opportunity to experience what the world of work might be like, and also gain the skills and experiences that will open up lots of different pathways for them in the future.
Events like these help young people get real-world skills in a real-world setting. They can work together on how to be more confident and present their ideas to the world. Just learn to think bigger.
I've learned employability skills, I've learned design thinking, I've learned loads of interview techniques.
I've learned about the different planning strategies.
How to come up with ideas, how to brainstorm.
How project lifecycle works, so how it starts, how you develop an idea.
Learning to code. I've learned loads of new skills, and so now I'm going to be applying them in the outside world.
This week is all about technology. We know it's an area with huge growth and opportunity, but it's also an area where we are facing a big skills gap.
I started at Accenture when I was just 18, had my first role as a project manager at 19, and now I have my role as a software engineer. I think I am proof that these programs do work.
I came through Movement to Work program in 2015, and now I'm a software engineer.
These programs are awesome because it helps people gain the skills they need to become employable.
100% has changed my life. We absolutely believe that talent resides everywhere, but not everybody gets the opportunity to get exposure to the world of work and see how they can fit into it.
Pitching to a panel of judges our idea for a chatbot application.
I never thought at the beginning of the week I'd be getting hands-on experience building a chatbot.
Well, I'm pretty nervous about it, but I think my team will do a good job.
To see a team that's just coming fresh and being trained for what, 2-3 days, and it can come up.
Apologies, that's me
With the
getting around my
ideas.
screen.
I've been really blown away.
There was a lot of talent in the young people who presented today. There's quite a few people that I would easily steal for my projects.
Being able to create something that could eventually come out and present it to people and hearing their feedback, that was really good.
It's been an incredibly amazing week to work with such talented young people.
For us, it's really important that the participants go on to do great things, whatever career path they choose. So that might be with Accenture, but it might be with a totally different organisation in a totally different sector.
I am looking for a career path, and this has definitely helped.
It's been really insightful and really eye-opening.
Something that will help me throughout my whole journey in life.
This has really shown me that this is what I want to do.
I'm much more confident about my career than I was at the beginning of the week.
So hopefully that did a bit more to kind of illustrate what I've kind of talked about in terms of the structure, and what Jakir has talked about, what he got out of the program. You know, again, feedback from you all today is that you wanted to hear about success stories. So just a short slide here, just have a quick look at, you know, feedback that we've had from one of our most recent weeks on the program, and then on the opposite side of the screen, as kind of was highlighted in the video, is that we would hope some of our participants would stay with us on the apprenticeship, but people don't have to do that. Some people may come into the program knowing they don't want to do the apprenticeship, but we want to ensure that there are still good outcomes achieved. So we are working with charity partners and other organisations that will help to signpost other opportunities outside of Accenture. Without further ado, and we're going to have to do this real speedy. So Pooja, I'm going to ask you to do maybe 3 out of your 5 minutes for a kind of talk, because I really do want to make sure we've got a nice amount of time to answer some of the questions. I've still got quite a bit to get through myself. But Pooja, if you'd like to introduce yourself and just say a little bit about what you're doing at Accenture.
Yeah, hi. So my name's Pooja. So I've started work at Accenture in September as a consulting degree apprentice, which is obviously one of the newer apprenticeship schemes that only started this year in consulting. So I'm not sure if you guys know, but tech's kind of been around for about 5-6 years, but this consulting one's brand new this year. So kind of a bit of what I was doing before Accenture. So I was doing my A-levels. So I finished A-levels in June 2022. I was going to say 2020 there, but 2022. And then I was kind of working part-time, just like as a waitress in restaurants and stuff, just to kind of build work experience and some money on the side. But yeah, nothing too serious. But I will say that kind of working like in that kind of aspect did give me a lot of skills and a lot of things that I learned about myself, where I could demonstrate how I showed my team working skills, or how I can interact with people in like a professional manner, I guess. And kind of what I do at Accenture. So being an apprentice in consulting, so it took me a while to kind of understand, but basically what you kind of do is at the start, in the first few months, you're more on a learning curve of what is Accenture and how, do consultants work? How do, say, people in tech work? And you're kind of just getting to grips with things and learning like how you deliver things to clients, things like that. And then more and more. So now going on to like 4 months in my project, I'm now going to be going to be given more responsibility in terms of like actually leading some work and leading some deliverables for the clients and things like that. So yeah, I think that's kind of as quickly as I can touch on that. And kind of what is consulting, which to be honest, I barely knew what it was before applying to apprenticeships. It's, in the easiest way, it's not a universal term. Like consulting can be done in so many different ways, and I think keeping it in mind is just that it's kind of advising clients and other businesses that are facing certain problems, whether that's their costs are too high, their IT costs may be too high, their employee retention might not be as good as they want. So it's kind of advising them on how to fix their problems in the long term, not just short term, is kind of the best way I can put it. And yeah, I think what made me want to join Accenture, it was probably, compared to all of the other companies, was the fact that it is a technology firm, and they've kind of, not that they've got something to prove, but they're slightly smaller than, say, the big four, but they're still so well established, and the people culture that I've heard and I saw through like LinkedIn and things was just phenomenal. And obviously being number one for like diversity and inclusion was also another big thing, being like, of a ethnic minority background. So I think that, yeah, that was kind of something that drew me more towards Accenture than others. But yeah, obviously happy to answer any other questions in the Q&A.
Pooja, thank you so much for being so concise and to the point. I'm so sorry if my moving slide distracted you. It wasn't intentional. My mouse is just doing its own thing today. So just quickly, here is an overview, just so that you can see we've been talking about the apprenticeship. One of the questions there was, how long is the apprenticeship? It's a 3-year program. At the top, you can see the salary progression. You can see also the structure is, you may know that apprenticeship is a combination of being on the job, but also, you know, going to university, and that's delivered with the University of East London. And you can see there as well, in terms of the technology apprenticeship, some of the kind of expertise that you will learn will be around web, data, cloud, computing, and so on. Then also, I've just kind of highlighted here that the recruitment process, if you were to be considered for that, you will have already done an online application, you would have already done the discovery portal. So we would be supporting you to move on to the assessment centre and the tech interview. The consulting, very similar 3-year program. You can see the salary there across the top. I mentioned the chartered management and leadership status. And you can see here in terms of the expertise you will develop will be across economics, strategic management, accounting, and data, and lots more. Again, you'll see that word Accenture likes to use a passion for technology. Hopefully, through the process of being on the 5-day with us, your interest may have progressed into passion, but we will help you with ways to kind of access and communicate that. And again, you can see that in terms of the recruitment process, you would miss the first 2 steps. So what I want to do is spend a bit more time now talking about the assessment process. And this is where, Holly, you could drop that link in for Head Start. So Holly's going to drop the 2 separate links for technology and for consulting. It's actually really quite straightforward to do your initial step in the application. This is the Head Start. It's an external platform. So it's like it says, it's your online profile. I'm going to go into that in a bit more detail. Then you move on to your discovery portal. And the 3rd stage is an interview, which I just want to demystify now. It is not a strenuous interview. You will have a phone call from someone at Accenture. It could be me, someone else, a 10-15 minute call just to check that you're aligned to the program, you are available, and it's right for you. But once you've kind of passed those first 2 stages, we just kind of want to kind of hear you convey that interest, because you don't have to do that anywhere else really on the process. So Head Start, really important for you to know, once you build a Head Start profile, anytime you want to apply for any other job in the future at Accenture, if you're not already an Accenture employee, you can use this profile. Essentially, you're creating an online CV, and you can do that by uploading an existing CV and building on it, or going into each of these sections and completing them. Here is where I want to give you some top tips. Please, it says it takes about 15 to 30 minutes to do this, but make sure you go through it and make sure you've thoroughly completed each section, because that will affect you being shortlisted if all of that information isn't there. If you are working towards any qualifications, you've started any qualifications, you're on a short course, please do put that in there and put as much detail as possible. I grew up being told that CV should only be 1 page long when you're a certain age, 2 when you're a bit older. That doesn't apply here. There's no such thing as too much information. So any grades that you've previously achieved, any volunteering, any work in retail or kind of any other industry is going to be really, really helpful for us to kind of see here. Some of the things that people often miss are these, a questionnaire that again helps us just with eligibility and alignment. What else do I often see commonly missed is that people upload a CV that's maybe old, that was 6 months ago, and it doesn't account, or 12 months ago, and it doesn't account for some things that you've done since then. So just take that extra time to make sure all of the information will be there, because we have no way of knowing it otherwise. The next step that you will encounter will be this discovery portal if you're successful from submitting your application. This is just an assessment for us to see where you are at. It is not subject to you passing or failing that you'll be progressed to the next stage in terms of the Unlocking Potential series, as it would be if you were applying for any other role. So you will get a report sent to you by the platform, an automated report that would give you some feedback on what your strengths and weaknesses are as a result of doing that assessment. But don't be disheartened by that. That's not necessarily an indication of whether or not you will be offered a place. But what this is essentially, it's a case study. It's an example of, some kind of some day-to-day experiences in the business, and it's based around kind of emails and calls. So if you want to kind of prepare yourself, I'd say brush up on email etiquette, telephone etiquette, how you communicate with people that are in different kind of time zones. But essentially what it's doing is it's looking at your reasoning and memory and business acumen. Again, that's normally takes about 45 minutes to an hour, but there is actually no time limit on this, and it is something that you can come back to. So I would advise you all, anybody who's interested in applying, would be to create a profile now or today, and then you can take your kind of time if you're forwarded in the process to kind of complete this online assessment, which I think you're given 5 to 7 days to do. And then in terms of the timeline, and I'm going to do a time check, which is at 8 minutes now, is just a reminder. So I said it's Thursday, the 6th of January. It's because I really like the weekend and I want the weekend to be here. Today is the 5th, as you probably all know. Applications close on the 16th, Monday, the 16th of January. But as with any opportunity at Accenture, our roles are filled on a first come first serve basis. So one of the things that I see people do fail at the first hurdle is not applying early. If you're interested, start the application today, because if applications close, then at least you've started an application and you can get a nudge to complete it. And essentially you want to make sure you don't miss out on those roles being filled before you have had a chance. And then we would hope that by the 20th of January, we'll be able to confirm with everybody who's been offered a place. So you have enough time to prepare to kind of come in for the program if you're doing technology on the 30th of January, or if you're doing consulting on the 13th of February. Wow. So we got there in the very end. And I hope we've covered most of your points, but this is an opportunity to have your questions answered. So Holly, I don't know how you want to do this. Sometimes we just open it out and say who wants to turn on their microphone. I know that you're monitoring questions as well. So
yeah,
let's start there.
I'm happy, maybe if we kick off with some of the questions that are in the chat. So we've had a few about whether or not there's any age limit for the apprenticeship program.
There is no age limit, and I'm glad you said it, because when I was watching that video and it kept saying young people, I was like, I have to stop myself from saying young people, because this program doesn't have an age limit. So that was probably based on something that was happening when that was delivered.
Amazing. And then there's a few people in the chat who don't live in London, but are in other parts of the UK. Would they be able to take part?
Yes and no. So you couldn't, if you are in a commutable distance of London, you can take part. Like, you absolutely have to be available for all 5 days. That's not unnegotiable, because it's so intense. You can't miss any of it. And ideally, if you do want to go on to the apprenticeship, you need to be in a commutable distance of the London office, even though you may work in other places. But we are delivering this program in other locations, and that's Glasgow and Newcastle. So the link that Holly sent you, if you deleted the very end bit, it will just take you to our Head Start, and I can provide that link that can be sent to you, and you can see all of the live roles for us at the minute, and that would include Glasgow and Newcastle.
Thanks, Serena. There's one other that keeps popping up, which is people who have done a degree of sorts, whether it's in the UK or another country. They just want to know if there's any leeway with this for graduates.
There isn't, I'm afraid. I was, disappointed as you may be, but on this occasion, there isn't any leeway.
Got it. Before opening up to the wider floor for questions, I just want to say there's been a few people who have put quite specific circumstances in there. We've taken a note of, your cases, whether you're in education, specific training programs. We've got your names, and we'll basically contact you directly after this session, and we can make sure that you know whether or not you're eligible before applying.
Awesome. Yeah. And I've also given myself an extra bit of time. I know we've only got 5 minutes, but I will stay on if anybody wants to ask questions beyond that time. Okay, we've got a raised hand. Tosin, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. You're very welcome to come. There you go, and ask your question.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much. So this particular program, I'm really, really more than interested. And I wish I could, say this, that if this session, this technological social impact week, if it's a session that I will need to pay for to attend, I would have done it. If the London location is maybe the numbers are too much, I don't mind going to maybe Glasgow or Newcastle, my former city, because I'm currently based in London. So I've applied, and then I got an invite to go to the Accenture Discovery Portal. I did the assessments. They sent me feedback highlighting my top 3 strengths and my weakness. So I'm yet to get the final feedback. And then all of a sudden on Thursday, 29th of December, I got an email telling me I didn't meet the criteria. But I was wondering, I was already asked to, progress to the next stage, do the assessment. I was thinking after assessment, I get the outcome of the assessment that, oh, if at all you don't meet the criteria, that I shouldn't have been maybe allowed to go forward. So I don't know if there is any way out regarding that, because I'm really, really keen just to attend the 1 week program.
Tosin, thank you so much for your question and your enthusiasm. I really kind of feel that passion coming from you. I will apologize that you've had that experience, and it's likely, I imagine that it will be around your qualifications. I couldn't say specifically without looking at your record, but as Holly's just asked, and I think there was a little bit of lack of clarity as to whether or not we were going to be allowing people who had achieved a degree. So it may be something like that was spotted later on in your application. We start the process on a platform, and then there are times when recruiters can kind of look at it. So it may have just been picked up when it was looked at a bit more closely. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
I will say to anybody who's kind of been disappointed in terms of eligibility for programs, have a look at, keep an eye out on opportunity as at Accenture. There are so many different things that kind of happen, and this is not the only program. There are other entry-level roles which you may be interested in and eligible for. And again, you can use the profile that you've created to apply for them.
Just to build on that as well, you'll all be receiving an email next week inviting you to join NIA's wider community. And of course, we're here to make sure that you're connected with lots of different training, job and mentorship opportunities. So we definitely, want to make sure that you find the right place somewhere.
Thanks, Holly. I'm just looking in the chat to see. Somebody asked, this is probably the specific questions that you've asked. People have said about the courses that they're taking part in. Okay, so anybody else got any questions? And particularly if you've got any questions for Pooja and Jakir while they're here and they're in the business, if you want to know, then please do ask. Mary, go for it. Hello.
Hi, I wanted to ask Jakir a question because he has like a similar profile to me.
Sure.
Did you find making that switch to working, I guess what is called professionally, that routine and being in that environment, did you find it a little bit disorienting at first when you started?
Yeah, initially it was a bit overwhelming because I was used to doing like manual labor and not really sitting in front of a computer and looking at lines of code and what have you. But then I reminded myself that it is an apprenticeship scheme, and I'm there to learn. And if management, they have to understand that, because they know I didn't have a degree at the time. They knew that I was at university on Mondays, and they knew like I'm juggling a lot of things, and there was a lot of leniency there. So it wasn't difficult. Everyone was very understanding, and I was able to move at my own pace. If I wanted to move really quickly, then that was available to me. If I wanted to move slowly and focus on my dissertation or what have you, then that was also acceptable as well. So you go as fast as you want.
Thank you. And then my other question is for Serena. I am not in London. I did fill out the pre-application. is this possible for people who are from other places around the world? Like, does Accenture offer this type of program in other locations?
Other than the locations that I've said, I'm not sure. I haven't heard of that being delivered in the, did you say you're in the US? Or am I just assuming because what I'm hearing in your voice? I'm not sure where you said you were.
I'm in Canada.
You're in Canada. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't. I mean, I can certainly ask the question and share that with Holly and the team to get back to you. But again, like I said, anybody in any location, we do have jobs all around the world, and entry level too. So you're very welcome to have a look at the platform. I think we have do we have another question, or is that Mary, just your hand still raised? We are at time now. So I think there was a chaplain.
Hello, this is another Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Hi. Just to confirm, so you're trying to say that if we have any kind of degree, such as like a master's degree or BSc degree, we're not eligible for this program?
Not for this program, I'm afraid.
All right, thanks.
Awesome. I mean, if we have any burning questions, like I said, I'm really happy to take them and stay on for a few minutes. I will do. But I think I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank everybody for their time. I hope that you kind of got what you came to get out of the session today. I'd love to thank my colleagues Pooja and Jakir for being so generous with their time and their personal experiences at Accenture. I love hearing people talk because you guys have given me little bits. I'm like, I'm going to say that next time I do a presentation, little bits that you said about the company or experience. So thank you so much. And thank you to Nia and Banu, to Holly and Banu at Nia and the rest of the Nia colleagues for kind of hosting. It's been really great.
Thanks, Serena. And yeah, we'll send everyone over the answers to all of the questions. And as I mentioned, we'll reach out to you all directly with a bit more information around eligibility and all things like that ahead of the application deadline next week.